Now, I usually don't use sports illustrations, but since we're using a gymnasium, I have to do one. Our family loves sports, but I don't do sports illustrations because I find that a lot of people don't get it because we have people from all over the world, and if I started doing sports illustrations, I'd never get out of them. But I'm going to do one today. My favorite team in basketball, since we're in the playoffs, used to be, before the Miami Heat came about, because they're a newer team, was the Philadelphia Sixers. They were called the 76ers. Are there any fans from Philadelphia? There's a couple. Good. Okay. See, there we go. Thank you, Sue. Well, back in the 80s, there were some great names in Philadelphia. There was Dr. J. There was the early Charles Barkley. The later Charles Barkley wasn't that good, but the early Charles Barkley, and there was a guy named Bobby Jones. Bobby Jones in the 80s was a great player. You don't remember him? He was a Christian. And it was interesting. In one game, Bobby Jones was there, and he was fighting for a ball. You know, there's an out of bounds. Those of you who don't know basketball, there's an out of bounds. He's fighting for the ball, dives for the ball. Another guy from the opposing team dives for the ball, and it rolls out. And the referee was behind him and could not see who was the last to touch the ball. So the referee said to Bobby Jones, this is on national TV, "Bobby, did you touch that ball last?" Now, can you imagine that today? "Did you touch that ball last?" And this is what Bobby said, "No, sir, I didn't." And the referee handed him the ball and said, "It's yours." Is that amazing? 10 days later, they were back at the Spectrum, which is a great place, used to be a great place to watch basketball. At the Spectrum, different team, the same referee rotating around, was back at that game. Same thing happened, only this time it was in front of their bench. So there's Billy Cunningham, who's the coach. All these guys are right there, and the ball goes out, and Bobby dives for it. The other guy dives for it, and the referee was behind, and he couldn't see the ball. He goes to Bobby Jones in front of national TV. He says, "Bobby, did you touch that ball last?" And he said, "Yes, sir, I did." And he gave the ball, the official gave the ball to the other team. At which time, Billy Cunningham, the coach of Bobby, screamed, and it could be heard by everyone, "Bobby, let the referees officiate this game." And Bobby screamed back and said, "My integrity is worth more than a basketball." And I thought, there it was. My integrity is worth more than a basketball. What was he saying? He was saying there is a wholeness. Integrity comes from the word integer, which means whole. One is an integer. Integrity comes from the combination of this, and this. But a lot of people say, let's just deal with this, and we compartmentalize it, and we come to church, and let's deal with this, and we go out in the world, and let's deal with this. And we don't bring them together. And we're okay with that. And what's interesting is, you know, we love pictures, right? Even at our church, we have 3 major buildings in our church. I was thinking about this the other day. We have a worship center, we have a school building, and we have a gymnasium. It's like, my goodness, we even perpetuate this silly notion that there is a segregation between the 3. But let me tell you, there should be no segregation of the 3. How you think, the mind, how you believe, and how you act should be connected. There should not be a bifurcation, or that's a big word to say, a separation between the 3. And this is what Paul begins to talk about. He's going to work through all of 1 Corinthians on this. We're going to be looking at this all through it, but it's interesting. Let's look at it. Verse 2 of chapter 2. And this is so key. "For I have decided to know nothing among you except Jesus Christ and him crucified." Paul begins where he ended in the first chapter, and that was this, that Jesus Christ is the center of all this thing. We must understand that Jesus Christ is the center. And out of that, we're going to work through the rest. I want you to know, when all is said and done, it's not religion, it's Jesus Christ.